There's a quiet type of strength you don't notice at first. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't brag. And it doesn't ask for attention. But once you recognize it, you see it everywhere. Picture this. A kid comes home in the late 1970s. No phone, no text messages, no parents tracking their location. Just a bike leaning against the wall and the unspoken rule, be back before the streetlights come on. That kid didn't grow up with constant reassurance. They grew up with freedom, silence, and responsibility. Today, we're diving into the psychology of people who grew up in the 1970s, how their childhood shaped their mindset, emotions, relationships, and the way they see the world today. And if you're one of them, you may finally understand why you are the way you are. People who grew up in the 1970s were often forced to grow up faster. Parents worked long hours. Kids figured things out on their own. They learned how to solve problems without asking for help, entertain themselves, handle boredom, make decisions early. Psychologically, this created strong self-reliance, but there's a hidden side to it. Many of them learned, don't depend too much on anyone. As adults, this can look like difficulty asking for help, feeling uncomfortable being vulnerable, a strong need to stay in control. They don't hate support, they just learned early that no one was always available. In the 1970s, emotions weren't analyzed, they were endured. If you were sad, you were told, you'll be fine. If you were scared, be strong. If you were overwhelmed, that's life. As a result, many people from this era became emotionally resilient, but not always emotionally expressive. They feel deeply, they just don't always have the words. This is why many of them struggle to explain their emotions, shut down during emotional conflict, show love through actions, not words. They won't say, I love you 100 times, but they'll show up, fix things, stay loyal, protect the people they care about. People who grew up in the 1970s are mentally tough. Why? Because life didn't pause for discomfort. There was less emotional cushioning, fewer safety nets, less validation. Psychologically, this built a high stress tolerance. They can handle pressure, stay calm in chaos, push through difficult situations. But here's the downside. They often ignore their own limits. They may overwork themselves, downplay burnout, minimize their own pain. They don't complain easily, sometimes not even when they should. In the 1970s, relationships were built slowly. No instant connections, no endless options. Friendships and bonds were earned. This created a psychology rooted in loyalty, commitment, and consistency. People from this generation don't care much about flashy popularity, constant validation, or social approval. They care about who stays, who shows up, who can be trusted. If someone from this era lets you into their inner circle, that means something, because they don't let many people in. People who grew up in the 1970s lived through massive change. They saw technology explode, society shift, work culture evolve, values transform. Psychologically, this made them highly adaptable. They can function in old systems, new systems, chaos, transition. But adaptation came at a cost. Many of them feel like the world moved too fast, but I had no choice except to keep up. They're flexible, but often tired. People from this era are skeptical by nature. They've seen trends rise and fall, promises break, systems fail. So they rely on experience over theory, proof over promises, results over words. This makes them grounded, practical, realistic. But sometimes it also makes them resistant to change, slow to trust new ideas, emotionally guarded. They've learned not everything new is better.
The most important psychological trait of people who grew up in the 1970s is quiet strength. They don't announce their struggles. They don't dramatize their pain. They don't seek applause. They just keep going. But here's the truth many of them never hear. Just because your strength is silent doesn't mean it isn't powerful. And just because you survived doesn't mean you didn't carry weight. If this video made you feel understood or helped you understand someone in your life better, subscribe for more deep psychology breakdowns like this. We explore the hidden patterns behind generations, behavior, and the human mind. And tell me in the comments, did you grow up in the 1970s? Or do you recognize someone who did? Your story matters more than you think.